extraterrestrials, or maybe they'll just have this full-blown disclosure that extraterrestrials are now here. I don't know. I don't have a crystal. I'm not a prophet, so I don't know exactly what form it'll take. Just looking at the signs of the times right now and what they're pointing to.
And we know Scripture says that the Antichrist will perform wonders, right? And
exactly.
we know he can't actually perform miracles, so they will be deceptions, like these wonders. It's not like he can actually perform miracles. Right. Now, I know somebody asked a question about your understanding of the end times, but it's not so. I also think we are in something major right now, right? So, all right, so let's read it, I guess. So he says, why should we believe we live near the time of the final definite apostasy Antichrist rather than yet another horrible foreshadowing? If you ever hear Father Wolf will say the French Revolution is a type of end times. So are we just living through another type and foreshadow, or are we actually approaching the final end times?
There's two different takes, and I'm okay with either one. I'll say which one I favor. One take is that the singular Antichrist is only at the very end of time, and Christ comes physically immediately after that. In which case, what we're looking at now is the penultimate Antichrist. So like the final type. Whereas, because we have to have an era of peace. Like every prophecy that's ever spoken of what's coming says there's going to be an era of peace. This is throughout 2,000 years of prophecy, and I can't even begin to list all the prophecies of an era of peace.
Yeah.
So that's got to happen. We clearly haven't had that. Just turn on the news. We haven't had that. So that's got to come. So if you're absolutely convinced that the end of time must happen immediately after the Antichrist, then sure, the Antichrist himself is not who we're looking at right now. That said, I know that a couple saints have interpreted the gospel that way, but a lot of other revelations and saints have not interpreted it that way. I favor this interpretation. Again, I'm not trying to force this on anyone.
To the charge.
I'll submit to whatever decision
the thing
comes.
is, whenever we're having these conversations, especially as Catholics, right? Like, we're not supposed to ever set dates, right? But we can read the signs of the time. So it's I know this isn't a Protestant thing we're doing here, guys. Like we're just. I mean, Jesus, I know everybody abuses that line a little bit, but you really do have to read the signs of the times. You know when it's going to rain because you see it's cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's things that are happening to me, the biggest sign, aside from even private revelation and prophecy, is I really see the church heading in a direction that happened at Christ's first coming, where the hierarchy colludes with Rome, and we kind of see something similar going on right now, where the hierarchy seems to be colluding with Rome right now. So that's where I really see the major red flags coming up. But of course you can say something and we won't hold you to any kind of heretical view or anything. We're just we're just laymen just talking.
And when it comes to eschatology, that is the most obscure realm in all of theology. You can't expect perfection here from you're going to see great saints disagreeing with each other, and that's fine. The saints disagree with each other all the time, as long as they are fully ready and willing to submit to the church. If and when she submits to judgment, then we're good. And when it comes to eschatology, you got to be absolutely clear that we can never be millenarians like a lot of Protestants and quasi Christians are, where they look to earth as the ultimate goal, like Jesus physically reigning on earth, beatific vision, no death. So the era of peace doesn't mean heaven. That we can only get heaven in heaven, but it's the triumph of the church.
And I think we all even so that's not just a far out theory. I mean, we believe that there will be a reign of Mary,
exactly.
Right? Like we believe that, especially from the prophecy of Fatima, we believe that her immaculate heart will prevail in the end, and there will be some form of a reign of Mary.
Right.
So when we talk about this, even if the Antichrist comes, we do believe there will be an era of peace somehow worked into that, and that Mary's immaculate heart will reign for a period. So I think I hold the same view as you at that.
Yeah, and that's my view. I think we are at the Antichrist right now, and by right now I don't mean a specific month or anything. I just I think that's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
And I think the era of peace will come after. And some people have said the Antichrist can only come at the very end of time, because if you look at Thessalonians, Christ destroys the Antichrist. But, and I'm drawing not from my own speculations here, and I wish I had book next to me. I don't think I do. But Father Charles Armin John, he wrote The End of the Present World and the Mysteries of the Future Life. I've quoted him many times if you've seen my other videos.
Oh, I think I have it on my shelf.
Oh, you have it?
I think I have it.
So I side with his Oh, I think it might be on your right. Maybe I don't have a high resolution view here, but no, maybe that's something else. But he says
definitely have it.
No, I'm looking at something else. Actually, I'm not seeing the right book binding here. I thought.
All right, let's.
But he said. So that's all right. I'll paraphrase. He says, the church doesn't have a dogma on this.
That's the book that Saint Teresa of Avila said was okay. I definitely just got that.
So it was actually Saint Teresa of Lisieux. Oh yeah, so it was the one. I thought that binding looked familiar. Now he says in that book that. So some say that because of Thessalonians, and I think it's Thessalonians it's being quoted, that the Antichrist has to come immediately before the end of time because Christ is victorious over the Antichrist. And of course he is. But Father Charles Armin John, he says, no, it's not the second coming of Christ in the flesh that defeats the Antichrist. It's the breath of his mouth. And he says that's clearly intended in Scripture as a way of referring to like an apparition of Christ, a manifestation of Christ's power. Some sort of glorious coming of Christ. He's not physically coming at the end of time. He's like, it's like a global apparition where he just destroys the Antichrist.
That would kind of, would that kind of line up with the warning? Maybe you think?
I think it's got something to do. Now the warning, I think stuff is going to come out. I think the Antichrist is actually going to come after the warning. I think the warning is going to give us a final chance. I think the warning is going to give every person of goodwill a chance to choose